This is Crusader Kings III. This is the game that has been taking over my life for the last couple of days, and there's no end in sight. So, to give you some background on my interests, I used to play total war games like crazy. Starting with medieval, I didn't play the original Shogun, or I think was the original Rome the next one? I don't remember now, but I started with medieval, and I loved it because there was just this huge grand strategy, this sweeping epic. You get this historical context that gave everything you did this weight of importance. But as I've gotten older, I haven't been able to get into the most recent Total War games, which, those games didn't change. There's nothing about them. It's not like they've been getting worse or something. It's just my interest in the tactical combat of actually playing out these medieval battles, it started to flag. And so I kind of assumed that something like Crusader Kings was just not going to appeal to me because I imagined it being something like Total War. Crusader Kings is not Total War. Crusader Kings is not about war. Not really. It's about dynasty. And I could not believe, it sounded like an incredibly complicated game, an incredibly slow-paced game when I heard about it, and so I assumed I wouldn't be able to get into it. But I took a flying leap in this direction anyway, and I was wrong. The game, they've got a great tutorial. They get you into all of the mechanics really quickly, and it actually is surprisingly fast-paced, more so than a Total War game. So let me just introduce you to my Jarldom here. So when I first started the game, I started with the tutorial, and I was over here in Ireland, and I played a different campaign that was all about taking over Ireland, and I became the King of Ireland, and that was fun. And then I said, okay, you know what? I want to start over playing some random idiot and seeing what I can do with that situation. So I found this tiny island here in Scandinavia called Gotland, and I've got sort of the Jarldom of Visby here. And I'm actually a couple generations in right now. I started in the 800s and now I'm in the 900s. And this is actually, so I've actually played beyond this point. I saved this point because it was a great place to illustrate how this game works. So this is Yaro Thorloff. Yaro Thorloff has been, he was actually the grandson, I think, or he was the youngest son of the previous Jarl. That Jarl had a kid, had an oldest son who inherited, and that oldest son took ill, made an ill-advised medical choice, and ended up being chemically castrated, which left him without any progeny, and he soon died of his illness anyway because the medicine that he used was just not effective at doing what it was intended to do. And so then it was his youngest brother, who, a child of his father's old age, who took over the Jarldom. And young Yaro Thorloff, he was very young, and he had a long life ahead of him. And so over the course of his life, I was able to expand his empire, basically, to contain all this land, the southern tip of Sweden, this chunk of Denmark down here, a little bit of the sort of the northern coast of I think what eventually became Germany. And and I was very proud of myself. I was like, wow, what an accomplishment. I started with just this tiny island, and by raiding for cash, and for prestige, and then using that, the proceeds of those raids to hire, men at arms, so that my army was larger than it should be for the size of my nation, and then going in and opportunistically finding times when other kingdoms were weak and stealing their land from them, using sort of the cultural. So there's cultural advantages that you get from being in sort of Viking territory. You're allowed, basically by the religion and the culture, you're allowed to just seize land from people if you want to. When I was playing in Ireland, I wasn't allowed to do that. There were medieval rules about who you could attack and under what conditions. But here I was able to sort of opportunistically go after whoever I wanted to, and it was great. But there was something I didn't understand. So these are all of my holdings. It looks like, all of the lands that are colored blue and labeled Visby, it looks like this is just all my territory. It's not really all mine. Not in a permanent sense. So I, as the player, I'm playing as Yaro Thorloff right now. And you can see right here, this is a list of my titles. So I'm Yaro Thorloff of Visby, which means, that I am owed fealty by all of these little sub-nations you can see me highlighting here. They all, owe fealty to me. They're all my vassals. And you can see that I directly own the duchy of I think it's Sealand, which is down here. I own the Jarldom of Holstein, which is down here. I own the Chiefdom of Gotland, which is my own territory. And, and so it seems like, wow, I own all of this stuff. But because of the laws of succession in my tribal society, when I die, I don't pass that entire thing on to my oldest kid. Instead, it's divided up. Like these 5 things are going to be divided up among my kids. And so I happen to know that the Jarl is about to die. So I unpause the game, and I die. And so here is Starkad. So my expectation going into the game with my ignorance of medieval societies, I assumed Jarl Starkad, who's young strapping guy, he's got a whole career ahead of him. I thought he was going to inherit all of the Jarldom of Visby. But what happened was, boom, Visby just got divided up like crazy. So Skan here, this is my little brother, Jarl Karl. So he owns Skan. Ciela here, this is owned by Thorloff II. And over here, we've got Holstein, which is owned by Jarl Dan. These are my brothers. And so now my kingdom, my Jarldom has been divided up among 4 sons. And so now if I want to have that Jarldom back, I have to go to war with my own brothers. And at first I was like kind of horrified by that. Like, oh, I have to do this terrible thing. And then I realized, isn't that what half the stories I've heard from medieval history are about? Like brother fighting brother over, like who controls their inherited domain. So that was crazy. And then, so when I first got started, I was like, okay, Starkad, let's look at him. He's got actually really high stewardship. That's his, he's got these 5 skills that define every ruler and even every courtier. And so, I made some decisions for him. I decided to make him a steward. In my original playthrough, I had him, he went to war with his brother Karl and took over Skan. He didn't get a chance to take over Ciela or Holstein because he got embroiled in other wars. Other people were attacking him. Things got crazy. Every time somebody died, land would change hands, and everything was all over the place. So let me load the game that I currently am playing. So here is Starkad, several years older, and I'll kind of catch you up on where I am now. So you can see I've reconsolidated my lands, but it's different lands. I still don't have Ciela here. This is still owned by, no longer my little brother. This is somebody else, and I haven't been keeping track of this. I don't know why this is owned by someone else. I think maybe he had a larger territory and a vassal, and then his line failed and his vassal took over. I'm not actually sure, because there's so much going on in this game, I couldn't keep track of it all. I completely lost Holstein. I didn't get it back. It was conquered by East Francia here, which is a massive empire. They've got a bigger army than me. You can see up here, I've got 3,000 men at my command right now. They've got 4,500. Now, if I actually wait around for my soldiers to recharge after the last time I used them, I probably can go toe-to-toe with East Francia, but still, they're scary people to attack. And if I were to attack them, I'd have to have a darn good reason. But I did manage to opportunistically, there was a sort of a fractured kingdom that owned this territory and this territory and this territory, and with a lot of my smaller wars, I built up enough prestige to sort of be allowed by the culture to go after their entire territory. So I did. But now I'm looking at High Chieftain Starkad here, and he's starting to get old. He's older now than his dad was when he died, and so I feel like Starkad could go at any time. And so the problem is, again, Starkad, he's got 3 concubines. He's got a lot of children. This little tiny empire is about to get broken up like crazy as soon as he dies. And so what I need to do, because now there are ways, if you research and advance your government style, you can move to primogeniture, and you can actually make hand your entire nation over to your kid. That takes forever to build up towards from a tribal society. So that's not going to be my option. The only other option I have is to claim a large enough title that it can comprise all of these different vassals. And so basically, if I'm a jarl, then or a high chieftain, which is, that's one level of rank. If I am one of those, then if I have multiple jarldoms and multiple high chiefdoms or whatever, then those get divided up and they're all equally ranked, and I lose all the ones that I don't personally own. My heir doesn't personally own, and so instead I have to get a higher rank than that. So I've got a plan. So if you look down here, the political map, you can switch it into de jure mode, which basically, so this is the world as it is currently owned by different factions. And you can see, Sweden used to be a big solid lump, and now it's kind of divided up among warring factions, which means it's vulnerable, which is nice. That's how I get most of my territories, watching for another group to be vulnerable. But there's this idea called de jure, which is these are the sort of considered to be the legally binding borders of the land. These are the smaller duchies. Here are the kingdoms, which are the next step up. So Denmark, Sweden, Norway. Here are the empires: Scandinavia, the Wendish Empire, Germania, Britannia, Russia. These are the ones that are more on the scale of modern nations. But if you drop back down, so basically right now I'm on this level. My level of authority in the society means I can control something about this size. If I want to control lots of things this size and pass them all down to my kids, I need to control something this size. And while it's possible for me to just declare that I own something this size, once I get big enough, I can just say, yeah, this is a kingdom now. I would prefer to claim a legitimate kingdom. And so I'm looking at Denmark here. So Denmark basically says, you can't see it because it's behind my head right now. Actually, can I move it? No, I can't move it. Here, I'm going to pop myself over to the bottom right. So there's some rules about what you need to do to get Denmark. And the main rule is you got to have enough money, got to have enough, and then you have to have 9 of the counties inside Denmark. I've got 6, so I need 3 more. So the question is, how can I quickly get 3 more counties before Starkad dies and has to leave everything to his kids? So my theory, and I don't know if this is going to work, is the best way for me to get 3 counties is to attack Alba, because Alba owns this one duchy. Let me go show you what declaring war looks like. So you can only go to war. You can't just send your armies wherever and attack wherever you want. You have to formally declare war, and everyone has to agree that what you're doing is okay. And by the way, I should just make a little aside here. This is such an amazing window into medieval society, because basically what it exposes is that this isn't politics the way we understand politics today, or the way we idealize politics today. This is a game that rich people played with each other, with real people's lives. And basically everything has got all these rules, these arbitrary rules about what you can and can't do. But it's just a game these people are playing to get one up on each other. Okay, so if I want to declare war, so the blue is me, the red is Alba. Alba is one of the most powerful nations on this map right now. They own most of Scotland, chunks of Scandinavia, and they've got a huge army. But they also have a duchy, which one was it now? I think it was Jylland. Jylland has 3 counties. If I can take Jylland from Alba, then I've got the 3 counties that I need, and I can claim to be the king of Denmark. So if I declare, but look at this, he's got 16,000, nearly 17,000 troops. But it says that he's similar to me in power, but that's ridiculous. I've only got 3,000 troops. Why would that be similar? That doesn't make any sense. Well, the reason for that is I have allies. So here's the gamble that I'm making. Here, let me just declare war on him real quick. One of my allies is Galicia Volhynia. Galicia Volhynia has nearly 10,000 troops. The way that small kingdoms, small territories get enough power to wage war is that they make allies through marriage with bigger countries. So this country, it's got a big army, and if I can get them to fight alongside me, I could beat Alba at least long enough to claim this territory. Now the question is, Galicia-Volhynia has got wars of their own. I don't know if they're actually going to back me up. If they don't back me up, I'm going to be in trouble. So let's call them to war. It says they're going to accept. I got to spend a bunch of my power to make it happen. And meanwhile, while I'm waiting for them to show up, let me rally my troops. So normally you spend most of your time without a standing army. You have to decide to raise your army. Your army is made up of soldiers you've hired and trained, but also soldiers, low-level soldiers that are just owed to you by all of the territories that you own. So I'm going to raise my troops, and he is going to accept my invitation to go to war. And once my troops are up to the 3204 or whatever that I have, 3198, almost close enough. Okay, so yes, the Byzantines have joined the fight. So this could get pretty nasty. But right now, it looks like Alba is not raising a bunch of troops right here next to me. So I'm going to go and try to take some territory. So everything is done in real time. You're just pausing and unpausing and giving orders. So if Alba is busy with something else right now and can't afford the troops to come and fight with me, then I'm good. Okay, so these blue troops that are coming in, these are my allies. So they're going to be attacking territories that are relevant to my struggle. The gray guys are people who don't care about me. So I can ignore anybody in gray. If I see red or orange, they're a threat. So the way that war works in this game is, it's not just go take the territory, you own the city, and now you've won. Instead, you have to do, you track your war like it's got a score. I mean, everything, this is all games. You track your war with a score, and basically you have to do enough damage to them that they're forced by the standards of their society to submit to you. And so you have to definitely, the most important thing is claiming the territory you're actually trying to conquer. You have to have that. That's the biggest part of your war score. But then you have to also win battles against them, take unnecessary territories, overextend yourself a little bit, and that's how you force them to submit. So, because I'm trying to claim this particular duchy, that is what I said I was going to do, right? Let's see here. Yes, so I'm trying to take Yilland. So I need to definitely conquer Yilland, and then I have to do enough damage to them and survive enough damage from them that I'm awarded the victory. So it looks like my allies are actually just going after different Alba holdings. So yeah, it looks like they're headed across, these guys are headed like across the ocean to attack actual Alba, maybe? Or I don't know, maybe these guys are just, this might not have anything to do with my war. This could be some other fight that Galicia-Volhynia is in the middle of. But I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope that what they're doing is keeping Alba busy over here in the west while I conquer Alba territory over here. Okay, let's see here. So I'm here besieging. You can see that I'm making progress on this siege. If I had siege weaponry, it would be a lot faster. Waiting out sieges is actually a huge part of this, of the way this works. Huh. Okay, so my chancellor is a bad diplomat, and he just made someone mad at me, which makes me sad. This is the guy. Oh, this is my old friend from Sealand. Well, that makes me sad. I want him to be my friend. Or I could just conquer his territory. You know what? I'm planning on conquering his territory later anyway, so I'll just let him hate me. It's fine. A grandchild's lineage. That my daughter Edla is carrying a child conceived through sinful union is no secret. She is not a married woman, after all. Nevertheless, to learn that Misko is the father of the child. How could he put my daughter in this position? Great. So, my daughter's getting in trouble with creepy dudes. Ooh, one of my counselors died. I should do something about that. So, okay, so you've got this council, and basically all of the stuff that your nation can do is controlled by the abilities of your counselors. So like my marshal here has got incredible combat skill. That means that all the combat-y stuff that I like to do is better because of him. My spy master and my steward aren't that great. Let's see if we can get a good diplomat, because that last diplomat was garbage. So it looks like, on the top of my list here are my most powerful vassals, people who actually feel like they're owed something by me. So I should probably keep them happy by giving them jobs like this. So I could give it to my best diplomat, which is Chiefess Helena. But Chieftain Oder doesn't like me very much. And so even though he's not as good at the job, I could give it to him because I want his favor. Because him not liking me could mean that people plot against me and try to overthrow my rule. So, you know what? I've got other options. I'm going to go with Helena for the job. I'm a meritocrat. But then let's find that other guy, and let's start. Oh wait, what was the scheme I was already doing? Really quick. Okay, yeah. So I've been trying to sway this guy over to make him like me, but looks like I've already been successful. So I don't need to keep doing that. So yeah, let's try to make this guy like me by putting my spy master to work. Okay, so my spy master is going to try to make this guy like me. I don't have to give him a plum job to make him like me, and I can give it to the person who's best at the job. Okay, so it looks like in the meantime I've won this siege. Let me go and try to take Aris as well. So I can split up my army. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should split up my army. I'm not seeing any defenders coming in from Alba. Who are these guys? There's nobody. All right, I'm not seeing any defenders, so I might be safe enough to split my troops and make this thing happen faster. So I'm going to have these two split armies besiege two different towns at once. And you can see taking that one town gave me 4% towards my progress in the war. The problem with attacking a really big nation is that to do enough damage to them, to have them care, and have them actually, submit to you, it takes a lot. Oh, my spy master's come to me with a discovery. She's certain that my champion, Ovald, is scheming against my son Oswulf. Everybody's trying to kill Oswulf. I don't know what my deal is. So I could imprison him. That's going to spend... I have to spend some of my prestige to make that happen, though. So I can just let him go with it, or I can throw him in jail. Well, I am about to go on a glorious war of conquest, and so I can probably afford to spend some prestige on this. So let's protect Oswulf by throwing this guy in jail. Because I've got a primitive tribal society, I'm not actually allowed to just imprison whoever I want. You actually have to develop sort of social technology that allows you to be a complete monstrous autocrat. Which, it is funny. One thing that my colleague... Oh, crap. Okay, here comes the full weight of Alba. I think I'm done taking this territory. Let's go and defend over here, but this is going to go badly. They outnumber me by so much that they're just going to annihilate me. But I'm hoping that I can regroup and recover. In fact, I think it's not worth staying here. Oh, they're so close. It's probably not worth staying here. Let's regroup first over here and at least put up a good fight. Okay, so they're arrived. Oh crap! Okay, so I'm constantly pausing and unpausing. Okay, so let's at least do some damage to them before they completely obliterate me. But they're still going to obliterate me. Oh, my daughter just grew up. Cool, I'll deal with that later. Okay, they have obliterated me, but it cost them half their guys temporarily. Unfortunately, and so what happens when you lose is you just get scattered to the four winds. And like all of your troops just automatically retreat, and then you have to eventually recover. How far are my guys going to run? Okay, there's the last step. Okay, so they are now spreading out and trying to take back their territory. I'm a little disappointed in my allies. So we've got some folks here, we've got some folks there. Okay, well, let's merge my army back together again. So, let's see. I guess, you know what? Why don't I... Let's wait just a second. Let my allies finish fleeing. And let's go just take a different random territory. And, oh yeah, looks like we've caught one of their guys vulnerable. So let's take him out real quick. Cool. They are not actually trying to take back this territory yet, which is curious. I'm not sure why they're not. Okay, so he's fleeing. My ally is kind of sticking with me right now. So we've got enough folks. We could also take this guy out, but he's got all his friends up there just waiting. Let's give it a... Oops. Let's give it a try. See what happens. Actually, I really want to go at it from this angle. Oh, here we go. He's meeting me on the battlefield. Nobody else is moving. Oh, now they're moving. Ah, dang it. They caught up just in time. Okay, oh, but because they were scattered, I'm only dealing with them a few at a time. Oh, my marshal got injured. Oh, that can be bad. Okay, he's severely injured. He might die. My marshal was really good. He's the guy who had the highest skill in my council. So, let's see here. Let's see what happens. So, yeah, they are beating me, but I'm making them pay for it. Oh, crap. My son got hurt. Let's get a physician. Yeah, let's pay whatever money it takes. Okay, so you notice after the battle, they get back a bunch of their men. So you're not actually killing people. You're forcing them to surrender or flee. You're routing them, which means that that they'll get back a lot of the people that they lost. So unfortunately, so I did more damage to them, I think, than they did to me, but they had so many to start with. Oh, hey, and they're actually... My guy retreated right into an ambush. Luckily, he outnumbers the ambush, so... Okay, so I want to hold still in my own territory for a little bit. Oh, they've got so many people. And I really feel like Galicia is kind of disappointing me here. I think it's because... Look how many wars they're in the middle of right now. I think they've got armies scattered all over the globe, and they just don't have the wherewithal to fight me. Whereas Alba, I think Alba doesn't have a lot going on. There looks like they got some kind of fight with England going on over here, maybe, but it's not a whole ton. If I can click on them, and yeah, they've only got the war with me, and I'm barely hurting them at all. So that's why this isn't working. So if I had felt like I had more time, if I wasn't worried about Starka dying, I could have bided my time and waited for Alba to go through some kind of transition, or I could have tried to send an assassin to murder their king, or do something like that to disrupt them so that they'd get in trouble, so they'd be like easier to beat. But I wasn't able to do that. Oh no, someone's trying to kill my son, and he's already injured. That sucks. Okay. So I'm going to slowly try to replenish my troops here. I don't even know what's going on with my allies. Okay, yeah, let's throw everybody in jail. Sure. Okay, so my army... Oh my gosh, stop it. I don't want to deal with this stuff. Okay, so I promise I actually do normally pay much more attention to all the pop-ups that come out. So this is a hopeless cause right here. I'm not going to be able to make this conquest. So the thing is, I think what I'll probably actually do in real life, I wanted to sort of see what would happen if we did this. In real life, I'm probably going to go back to that save and try a different strategy for declaring myself the King of Denmark. For instance, Sealand is going to be really easy to conquer. Let's see here. The Barony of Verona is owned by these guys who have been declining in power over the past little while. They've got a very small army. So this territory, that territory together, plus I think I might be able to take something from these guys. These guys are much less tough. So I could probably piece together enough of Denmark to declare myself king without attacking Alba. So that's what I'm going to do in real life. But for right now, what I'm going to do is say, you know what? I can't win this war. So, okay, they're not going to accept a sort of an even-handed peace. They will only accept my abject surrender. So I have to lose a bunch of prestige. They're going to gain a bunch of prestige. And we can use that prestige resource on a bunch of different stuff. So that was actually a really bad thing for me, really good thing for him. I'm going to disband my army. No point in keeping an army when you're not at war anymore. And notice he's doing the same thing. And now, we're back to normal again. Whatever. So that's just a little demonstration of the way this game works. It's not really about the sort of the moment-to-moment war strategy. That's a part of it, but it's actually much more about this deal-making and the progression of your dynasty, who lives and who dies, who has scandals about them, who loses their reputation. So much of what I do in this game is based on this resource right here, my prestige, which I gain and lose in huge amounts based on the social interactions that I have with the other rulers. So you saw how much, weird business is going on here. So many different little counties. Each of these places has got their own ruler, their own dynasty. They've got grandchildren, parents. They've got their own councils, their own machinations going on at court. And all I've shown you so far is this little bit of Scandinavia that I've taken over. We've looked down at sort of the German and Eastern Europe sort of territory over here in England. I don't know if you realize how big this world is. There's stuff going on in West Africa. Oh, look, the Kingdom of Akan has been taking over the entire coast of West Africa. That's interesting. There's stuff going on in the Middle East right here, around the Red Sea. There's stuff going on over here on the Indian subcontinent. Hey, guess what? The Mongols are taking over China. And this is all happening in real time, being simulated at this level of complexity constantly. And so one thing that they tell you during the tutorial is this is not a game you can win. There are no victory conditions in this game. I mean, just let that sink in for a little bit. There are 0 victory conditions in this game. This is not about winning. This is about playing through the story of a dynasty, however it goes. And so now I really want to learn how to expand into a kingdom. So I am going to sort of say, okay, that failure didn't happen. I'm going to start over again, and I'm going to try a different way to conquer Denmark. But really the real way to play this is to just accept that failure and move on and just keep on going. And sometimes your dynasty is destroyed, and then you can switch and play a different character in the same history. I'm really actually looking forward to, I originally started in Ireland, which had one set of rules. The culture over here among the Vikings was completely different. I was able to sort of raiding was a thing that didn't exist over there in Ireland, but I could raid over here to make money. But then I couldn't spend the money on troops because troops are won with prestige over here, whereas they're paid money over in Ireland. And how is West Africa different? I don't know. I have to go and find out. How is India different? I don't know yet. And so this game is just huge, expansive possibilities just laid out in front of me. And I can barely fathom it all. So I am fully expecting to spend a lot of time on this game. The same way that I have in games like RimWorld. They just open up so much creative possibility for me to tell my own stories using the really varied and compelling rules of this game. So that's my demonstration of Crusader Kings III. I don't know if the action that I was showing you actually made sense, because so much of what's going on and the meaning of everything is what's happening in my head. It's they will explicitly state story events that are going on, but I'm the one who kind of creates my investment in these characters and who they are and what they're trying to accomplish. And so I'm not sure if that came across well enough, but I hope at least my enthusiasm is coming across, because this game really has just blown my mind. So I haven't even been paying any attention to the chat because, of course, I'm just so excited about this. So Ishva is really hyping the fact that, yeah, this game has so much depth and it's crazy fun. Smug Rainbow Pony talks about, it says, hello, you gave into the Hydra, huh? So, yeah, so this game is something that will if you let it get its teeth into you, it will suck you in. Let's see here. So yeah, Smug Rainbow Pony says, I may be saying something wrong, but I think depending on your starting cultural aspects, you may have trouble bringing women into the court without raising an uproar with your neighbors. So that's true. I think there are certain jobs in this society that I'm not allowed to have women do. I don't think I can. Yeah, notice that none of the marshal candidates are female. I can't. I can't make one of these people. I can't. The women just aren't on the list. But spy masters, I am allowed to assign a woman to that job. My spouse isn't allowed to have any of these jobs, but she's allowed to contribute subtly by influencing other people. And so they're doing a good job, I think, of having the society work the way it did, but not dismissing all the female characters, and finding ways that don't violate the history, but that still, like really underscore the importance of women in these, as a big part of history. There's so much complexity and so much interesting stuff going on here. I love it. So Ishva says, it's a good goal to have to learn more about the game. This game feels like it's complex enough that I could spend a long time trying to learn about it and still just feel like I'm only scratching the surface. You saw me sort of blowing by a lot of the events. Some of them were because they were events I've seen before that I've learned don't necessarily have a huge impact, and some of it was just I wanted to just make progress on this stream and sort of show you more without getting bogged down in a ton of details that I didn't know enough about yet. I think that I haven't done an intrigue-based character yet. I haven't played that way before, so I haven't done the backstabby, murdery stuff. That's a whole part of the game that at some point I need to discover. Anyway, so for now though, I'm going to wrap up this stream. And I'm looking at my audio levels. I've probably been peaking here because I'm getting so worked up and excited. I'm going to wrap up this stream, but if this sounded at all interesting to you, go check out Crusader Kings III. I absolutely love this thing. It's amazing. So we'll put it into this, and we'll go try something else out. And then I'll come back here later and try to come up with a better version of this history.